Hi guys, welcome back to Rts Share Tea, where respiratory therapists live out loud. With me, your host Linda Fry, the Asthma Lady. Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome to anybody new. I'm super excited for today's episode because we have another guest co-host, and she is an RTpreneur. Yes, Miss Gina Hoots. I love your name, by the way. So yes.
Thank you.
Gina Hoots. She's going to share her perspectives with us. And for those of you who don't know what an RTpreneur is, that is a respiratory therapist that's kind of like have their own business, their own side hustle, just kind of doing their own thing and share their perspectives on Rts Share Tea. So, Gina, welcome so much for being on the show. Before I let you do your thing, I'm going to read your accolades in your bio, and hopefully I get it straight.
Don't
So,
worry.
okay. Gina Hoots is a highly regarded, accomplished healthcare professional in Central Illinois with broad experience in the field of respiratory care. Her passions are relationship-based patient care and the promotion of high-quality, value-added respiratory care services. She is a proponent of establishing continuity of care and collaborative care models that strive to break down barriers between provider and patients, while allowing patients to maximize their quality of life in meaningful ways. She started her credential collection in 1991 with the CPFT written exam. Today, she has earned the RRT, the RRT ACCS, the CCSH, and most recently the AEC. Yes, she has been and still is a bedside RT, tireless advocate, cheerleader for RT autonomy, safe society, volunteer extraordinaire, and mom to many blessings. Yes, her RT career is as diverse as a patchwork quilt with the current road yet determined. However, asthma keeps showing up in unexpected ways. Yes, yes, and yes. I'm here for it, Gina. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being on the show. Yay!
Thank you so much for
Yes,
having me.
yes. Guys, just please give me some grace. This is Asthma and Allergy Month, and for those of you who know me, I have bad allergies, and I woke up with the worst kind this morning. But we're gonna push through. So Gina, thank you again for being here with us. So I always, like to share those that are with us on the show, their perspective and, what made you get into the RT field? We all have a story. So let's hear yours. What is it?
Mine's kind of a little boring, but it's built in to my brain. I knew I wanted to work in healthcare my whole life. I don't know why. But as I approached high school graduation and after, you get to mean teenager kinds of things, and being a doctor is less attainable, at that age. So I went to the community college and I found this brochure. It was red, and I'm going to look up that brochure someday to find out a copy. But it's a respiratory therapy. Never heard of it. I think it was called respiratory care at the time. And I went and job shadowed at the hospital, and I was in love from the beginning, and never questioned my career choice. I found I'm a little ADHD, so the diversity of job for the day, the minute, the year has really been a godsend for my brain.
Yes, 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 yes. So yes, I feel like the more people I speak to, I'm always waiting for that person to say like, oh yes, I wanted to be a respiratory therapist since I was a little girl or something like that. As far as I know, most people kind of fell into it by accident or like I just saw a sign on a door and I was like, what's this? So that is so it's always good to just hear how everybody fell into it. We all fell
Right.
into it. So okay, with that being said, so what made you say, okay, now is the time? I've seen your, kind of followed your career, and I just saw all your leadership roles. So what made you want to take those roles, and how did you get into them, like leadership and then moving towards consulting?
Well, quite honestly, I've kind of just been the leader that almost by default because I like to go to meetings. My mom was that way. I'm
Right.
that way. Goodness sakes, the 4-year-old here in the home, she has the same way. She has her little office, the whole 9 yards. So I've just been a meeting kind of person. I know that RTs need a voice at that table so badly, and
Mhm.
I wanted to save the world. So me and the team here in Decatur, we implemented RT protocols way back when that are still in existence today. Took lots of best practices. Had a great COPD team, and that's really where I've spent the last several
Nice.
years in the COPD world. Um, but joint commission and doing all the things because I always want to do bigger and better. My top skill is futuristic, so I'm always out here. I don't
Right.
always know how to get there, and that's where my team helps me get along there. Um, uh, but yeah, always wanted to do bigger and better, and that voice at the table is so important. Somebody has to do it.
Right.
There
Um,
will be somebody speaking for you, and you might not like the voice at the table.
right. Right.
I had some strong nurse leaders that really helped me along the way too.
Okay. Okay. So that's good because I was gonna ask you like what, yeah, like who helped you along your journey because we often knows that may have like a mentor or someone that kind of pushed you or motivated you to be
Mm-hmm.
in that on that path. So
So
yes.
I really had a very nice, stable nurse leadership team for quite a long time. So my
Mhm.
director, Robin Rising, she was the director of the Heart and Lung Institute. So naturally, being a PFT person, I went under her and did that. Without knowing it, the team had nominated me to be the first educator in a long time. The team had gone through a lot of decentralization back in the 90s. If you don't
Okay.
know what that is, they took all of the respiratory therapists away and made them be essentially nurse aides under the nursing
Wow.
team. They were disbanded and moved out, and they couldn't even talk to each other and have lunch together. And so
Wow.
they healed a lot over that time. So I was that leader that helped to try to heal that. Um, in the same time, though, I also took on way too much for myself, and I'm learning now that we've got to have a balance of how much we do for the team and how much we expect the team to do for us.
Right. Yes.
Mhm.
As a program director myself, I had to learn that too. You have to,
Mhm.
you can do your part, but the team as well. Once you
Right,
motivate them and give them the tools that they need, they have to
absolutely.
perform as well. And then you guys just kind of balance each other out. So yes,
Right.
that is the truth.
I've got my strong medical director, Steve Arnold. He's been there my entire career, and he's always been very respiratory focused. As is my right hand man, Sarah Heiger. She's always been the voice of reason for me. So when I'm up in the clouds, she brings me down to the ground. So
No.
having that strong team around you is good.
Okay, okay. So now, so you did all the leadership roles because like I said, I
Mhm.
saw you have a long history of just different roles and once again leadership and stuff like that. So now what made you say, okay, I'm ready to kind of branch out on my own as a consultant and just making those type of decisions. What led you there?
Oh, that's been quite a journey in the last year and a half. So, as a leader through COVID, I really was shining towards the beginning. We had a great leadership team. We had interdisciplinary meetings every day. We were rocking and rolling, making all the choices. But at the same time, we had also gone from an independent hospital to one that was affiliated with a health system. And so the
Okay.
decision making became out of our hands. And,
Mhm.
and I tried to work harder into the health system, but it wasn't to my strengths. Um, and the strengths that I had just were not valued as much anymore. So I had quite a burnout, and I took FMLA and I did the things, rested, and I've been a bedside RT in the for the last year, and I've really enjoyed that teaching patients, just getting back to my roots where it made me feel good. And so now, instead of having the hard jobs of a leader that you can never win, I now get the daily battles with the patient at the bedside where I do get to win quite often of the time. Who's
Hmm.
got mucus? That's that first productive cough when they say they haven't been able to cough up for weeks is for me. That's a
Right.
good day.
It's and I love that part of your story where you said you went from leadership back to bedside patient care and
Mm-hmm.
just it connecting you back to your roots. So
Yes,
I know how that is as
yes.
well. Just going back to why, like, what like to
Mhm.
even especially after burnout, which I have experienced myself, even prior to COVID. A lot of people in the respiratory field, definitely, I know, experienced burnout during that specific time. But as someone that works a lot myself, yes, I've experienced it several times in the career. And I do feel that going back to bedside patient care, even if it's just for just per diem or whatever, it does help reconnect you back to the profession, and just seeing patients go through their journey and helping them along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. We got patients. The RTs just have no idea where's Gina at? Where's she at? Well, I'm usually at a bedside talking to a patient, and that's kind of culture shock to them. I wear Joe's T-shirt. The why is way more important than the how. We need to know why we're doing these things.
Correct.
I just keep beating these drums of my old self that can't give up the quality. I'm not giving in yet to be the old day hag. Sometimes I'm there, but I don't want to. And but the young RTs are teaching me that today's culture is not about working yourself to the bone, but there's a balance.
Right.
So I'm really enjoying having those experiences today.
Yes. Totally agree. And so while we're on the topic of you finding, just your way, is how was it taking the exam? What made you want to become, an asthma education specialist and take the exam? Like, and how was it? I haven't taken it.
Well, the test was very, very difficult. So I take a lot of tests just because I like it. I don't have test anxiety, and I find it a challenge, and it really validates that, yeah, I do know my stuff, and I'm a good RT. Even when you have some of that self-doubt or the imposter syndrome, no, I still got it. I can answer these questions, and I remember. But man, there's been a lot changed since 1995. I had no idea about smart therapy. So when I started my career,
right,
we were doing
smart
Theophylline, we were doing everything.
End, though. That's
yeah,
more recent for us in the US. But
my husband, he was probably one of my patients back in the day when we did some of the timeline stuff, because he was a frequent asthma flyer back then, when I was a young RT. But so much has changed. And then I've got a husband who I've been taking care of his asthma for 13 years now, no ER visits in that time. And now I got one, probably the second one, also getting quite severe asthma. So we've been on the smart therapy bandwagon since I was studying for the test, and it's doing well. Last night, I'm like, have you taken your inhale? Yes, I have. Well, it kept on going. Gave him his inhaler, and he just went right to sleep. So that smart therapy is fabulous.
Nice. So you said, because that exam, because people ask me about that exam all the time, and I'm like, well, I took it in 2010, and I knew, and that's why I said congrats when I saw that you took the exam and you passed it on the first attempt is amazing, because I know for a fact, I know a lot of people, and I mean doctors, nurses, PAs, respiratory therapists, who have taken that exam and did not pass on the first try. And so kudos to you. And I'm included in that. I took it back in 2010. I failed it the first time. I ran out of time. Like I was just taking too long to read those questions. And then I went to use the bathroom, and it was the end of my story. I was like, I just didn't like study for the exam, because I'm like, I'm a respiratory therapist. I got it. I was like,
so number one, I'm a great test taker. So I don't have test anxiety, and I read pretty well. But I was still a long test. I was in there 2.5 hours, I think. It was long, even for me.
The stamina.
And then it also drew on every experience that I've had in all those 30 years. Patient education. It needed inpatient care. It needed outpatient care. It needed PFT. Most people I know that work aside me would not be able to answer those basic PFT questions. It wasn't that it was that hard, but I even had to write it down one time. Going from 3 liters to 4 liters, what percent change is that? We're used to for the computer doing that for us.
Well, it's like, I might need a calculator. Like, I'm gonna have to bring out a calculator. It is crazy. I remember the questions on even program management, program evaluation. I didn't even know that stuff back then. Now I know it because of the role I had. The questions. Oh my goodness. I was just like, Intense.
Part of this is I decided after my burnout, what can I do? I'm looking around what's going on these days, and health coach really kept popping up. So I think I want to be a health coach. I think I can do a good job with that.
Right.
And I haven't really gone very far with that other than making some profiles, but um, the patients that we take care of often can't pay for this kind of therapy that I want to provide. And so we need to go with the communities like you are, and work on that low cost asthma education for the world. At the same time, we know we go out there with our table and our asthma supplies, the community won't show up either. So partnering with people is very important. So I appreciate you and your guide. Your guide is around here somewhere. It's probably up there above me.
Oh, yes, Gina, I appreciate you. You are such a supporter of
I support
everything.
everybody. But yeah, there's a handbook up there for me to read one of these days on how to get that asthma going to my community. If you didn't know, way back when in my early career, so this is late 90s, there was an asthma coalition here in Decatur. We've got a very high asthma burden, and that fell apart over the years. But yeah, I've been doing asthma for as long as I can remember. Love it. And love that we have all the asthma tools today to take care of that. We didn't have Advair. Advair changed the game for everybody.
Right.
We
But
didn't
there's
have that when I started.
still a lot of work to do. Like you said,
A lot of work.
even with all the medications out there and what we know today,
Oh,
still a lot of work to do. So the demand
you
is
presented your asthma story one day. Sorry, I talked over you, sir. I'm very bad at talking over, so I'll try to watch that. But you just triggered my memory about your asthma story with your mom and grandma that you talk about. That happened to be the only thing I saw that morning in that entire program when you did it way back. And then I had my own asthma woman who was pregnant and she was on the ventilator. I've never seen anybody so bad. You couldn't take her PEEP off for a second. You couldn't touch her. And she did survive and she lived and it was discharged from the hospital. And I don't know how that was done, but I keep having my brain woken up. The pulmonary said, I'm not going to try MAG, but he did. And there it was. We pulled the guidelines that day to see what are we missing. So it's powerful stories you see out there, and you don't want to see those stories. You want to see that where's the asthma people? There's no asthma admissions anymore.
Right.
We don't know anything about it.
I mean, sharing, I think all type of stories pretty much benefit just knowing what your intentions are behind the story. Yeah. But when we share the good and the bad and what we learn from those stories I think
stay with us.
True blessing. And so you started to talk about the barriers, I think your aha moments, and that's the next question. So what would be your advice for anybody that wants to do the same thing, like that just wants to move into an area of consulting? And what were if any, what barriers did you have along your journey or in leadership?
Well, early on in leadership, I just kind of went with the flow and with the environment I was in. I wish I would have done more active learning. Now that there's a lot more educators like me out there that are sharing the information on different platforms like this Rts Share Tea, it really helps the younger RTs to know, yeah, we're okay. It's going to take steps and starts, and just go where your heart leads you. Now, this next stage, I didn't really know I was going to get into consulting, but it just kind of fell. I've always been no, don't start your small business because it's too hard. My mom and grandma did that. It's too hard. But here I am. I live in a fairly small community, but now we're connected. We're connected everywhere. And I've had so many opportunities over the years to gather experience and to meet so many colleagues. Those 20 some years in the Illinois Society of Respiratory Care have been valuable. I have so many colleagues that I can call on in times of crisis or good. If I need a job, I'm sure I could call many of them, say, hey, I need a job. Can you help me? Actually, I have done that in the past, especially when I was on leave. But I just kind of kept it slow and took my time to really evaluate where I was at personally, did a lot of work on myself, and just kind of learned where I was at in the world. I don't really want to lead other people directly anymore. I'm not good at it. Can't tell you how bad you're doing, Linda. I can only tell you how good you are. I can't. So I want to do too much of myself. So I need to have those boundaries. I need to work these hours and not these hours.
Right.
I need to do lots of interesting things. So right now I've got one part-time job where I kind of help patients with some home care equipment. I've got a
Nice.
part-time job where I'm looking at some spirometry behind the scenes and listening to coughs on the cough app.
Okay.
Just some really interesting little things. I've got different people have reached out to me about. So there's a lot of things that are out there and available.
Okay. I'm sorry, Gina. You wait. I think you went out for a few minutes, but I
Yeah,
heard the last thing you said.
yeah.
It's okay.
So it's those connections. Yeah.
No, no, no. It's okay. I heard like there was like one word that just went out, but you came back in. Don't worry
Oh,
about
good.
it.
Okay.
If
I
it
heard it's a Bluetooth.
it's fine. But yes, consultant, and I like what you said prior. You were talking about the networking, like the networking
On the
and the
networking.
collaborative efforts. And I think so. So for me, what I try to do with these sharing different folks' perspectives is just showing, especially those in the healthcare field, that you always can have other avenues to create your own opportunities. Like it's some
Oh,
folks, they just feel like they're stuck in acute care. Like once they do their
oh no.
foundational work, I am a true believer that your baseline should be acute care. Like,
Absolutely.
especially as a respiratory therapist.
Mhm.
But you should not feel stuck. Like, okay,
No,
is this all there is? It should not feel like that. And once it
no,
starts to feel like that, that's when it's a problem. So
absolutely.
having to
You got
find
to find something. If you look around, there's something to be done anywhere you're at. So, what do you complain about your boss? What's your boss doing wrong? Well, help them fix it. They need your help. They're just people like you. They want you to come to them with solutions. Um,
yes, ma'am. That's
I always, I want RT protocols. Everybody kept saying the doctors are going to be saying no, no, no. Well, the RTs were always my biggest barrier because if I implemented protocols, then I'm going to do away with all their work. Well, no, it's just we're not giving nebs. Now we're giving education instead of nebs or inhalers and teaching them before they go home how to use their inhalers.
okay.
So that's really my philosophy, and I'm not changed. I want people to be empowered with their own self management. I want RTs to work at the top of their pay grade. But we got to take care of each other, though. We can't just
Right,
do
right.
some things and not the other. Documentation is
I
important.
I totally agree. And I think so even the whole mission behind the RT Share Tea podcast is really just pumping the positive vibes of support, just supporting one
Absolutely.
another and just pumping out that positivity. Folks who are just doing unique things and just showing people the different things that we do. We're in
Mm-hmm.
like a bunch of settings. We're in a lot of settings and respiratory looks different in each state to me. Like I just hearing someone talk about getting on a plane, like a like an air getting in a plane to transport a patient as a respiratory therapist from one hospital to another. I that's just crazy to me. That's bizarre to have to think of that
But
as
I've had, yeah, but I've had my colleague on the Illinois Society for Respiratory Board. Curtis Kretschmer has been a flight therapist for many years, so
I
I have an exposure in my network. So I guess I hang out on LinkedIn a lot, where there's more RT nerds like us there, and less on Facebook. I try to expose myself to many people.
That's
Um,
I love it. I love it. It just blows my mind just how many. And then remember that football player who
oh
had
my gosh,
went
yes,
into cardiac arrest earlier this year
had no idea.
after getting tackled. I mean after a tackle and
Mhm.
just knowing that respiratory therapist was on the field and
Yeah,
even me. I was just like, oh
mhm.
yeah, that does make sense for a respiratory therapist to be
Sure,
on the team because yeah, who's gonna do
absolutely.
PR and all this stuff. So we are everywhere, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
pretty much. And
Yeah.
now, especially with COVID, you sprinkle COVID on top of all of these chronic diseases, it's like the demand is even higher because we don't know what
Mhm.
these lungs look like yet. We're
Right.
still in even though they're saying it's over, we're still just
Oh
now
no.
we still have to see what these
Right.
lungs are going to look like after long COVID and everything else.
Right. Lots
Oh,
of things. And then on top of that, you've got the staffing issues in the hospital. So all of
oh,
your normal staff is gone and it's been replaced either with new staff, new grads, or travelers.
oh,
And those people need your support too. Your patients need your support.
Oh,
Even if it's not your job, please make it your job, make it your business, because somebody might really need you. And it doesn't take that much out of your day to say, hey, I can help you with this. Because
mhm.
it's kind of a scary place right now in the wards.
It, I mean, but what I like to say is
We're helping.
we are in demand. That's all
I
it is.
love that.
So
I love that.
if
And being a
the
consultant,
folks say that again,
I've not had, I have not had to go out and advertise myself as a consultant ever yet. Their jobs are coming to me now. I'm not making tons of money, but I'm learning the ropes and learning what I need to do.
right.
But yeah, I think this is a viable career option. When I went and did some stuff with the Board of Registered Polysomnotics, they introduced, I became part of their group, and it was just so wonderful to see some other people and how much like they are to respiratory
Mm-hmm.
networking and
Yes.
having some great times.
Gina, keep
And dancing with you in
creating.
New Orleans.
Listen, you're doing great things. I just see what you're doing on LinkedIn. For those who don't know, we're kind of like each other's girl crush, in the network of in
Yes,
each other's social media networks. And so Gina, keep doing what you're doing. Keep, spreading the positivity and being that ray
thank
of
you.
light for everyone. And I say do your heart's desire. Create the schedule that you
Absolutely.
want, and I'm doing pretty similar things. I'm pretty much working around my son's schedule. He is my boss right now, so
Right.
just do what you have to do. But thank you so much, Gina. So
Oh,
this
thank
is
you.
your time. Plug. I always give
Oh,
people a time to plug in anything that they're doing, anything new. So go ahead. Where can we find you? What do you have going on? Spill the beans.
oh, wow. So I can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Facebook. I haven't made it over into the other stuff yet. I'm just getting too old for all the different places. But also, sometimes I go over to TikTok because that's really cool. There's some good stuff in there. Um, but I'm working on my website right now. So by the time you see this, it should be able up and running. Hoot and Nanny Joy. So my new business name I've decided is called Hoot and Nanny Joy.
I love
Um,
that name, by the way.
so I've only been a Hoots for 13 years.
I love
And,
it.
all the owl things are kind of crazy. And his aunts never liked that name, I think. But I kind of embraced it. And then we started having a family Hoot and Nanny every year. And
That's
last year I
nice.
was so down and depressed, but we had this gorgeous lake house. And his family
Nice.
just came and just, gave me that big hug and let me heal for a few days. Those Hoot Nannies really speak to me. And it could be a small one, a large one, but it really fits my mood. So Hoot Nanny Joy is the name of my business, and I really would like to take care of COPD patients. Have somebody, have a team of them where I call them up, say, hey, how are you doing today? Do you need anything? It could be asthma families, could be all kinds of different things. But I want to take care of some people. But I need to take care of myself and my family too. And I've given away that money for so many years, and I need to find a way to support us
I hear
as
you.
well.
I totally hear you loud and clear.
So,
And so what we'll do is for your website, when you have the details, I guess when you're ready, you
yeah,
can share it with me. And if you want, I can add that to the
yeah,
description
it may be live now.
where people can find you. And you're also part of, we're both part of the Women of Respiratory.
Yes, yeah.
You could talk more
So we've
about
got a
that.
Women of Respiratory Facebook group that's just been started by a couple of others that are some of my rock stars that I just love to watch out there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not enough women in RT. Most of our leaders
Mm-hmm.
are men. If you look around,
Yes.
even though it's a highly women-filled profession, I have built my team to be half men. It's not my team anymore. It's in charge of man's in charge of it now. But we work together, and that women coming together is really important so that we can talk about challenges with the
Very.
women. We usually are less paid because we want more soft benefits. But today, money's money and it should be equal. Opportunities,
That's a fact.
speaker assignments. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah, yes, yes, and yes. Gina,
So
so
I'm a
I guess
cheerleader for everybody.
it just doesn't make sense. But yes, I agree with all of the above. And Gina, I guess we will be seeing each other in crossing paths because we know a lot of the same folk and in the same
Absolutely.
network. and I'm also in the Women of Respiratory Therapist group. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited to see where the profession will go, because I definitely do feel growth. I see it. And just seeing what both the AARC and the NBRC are doing. I'm excited. So we'll I guess, like we said, we're just gonna continue pushing forward with the positivity, and
Yes.
and on Rts Share Tea, we'll continue to spread the
Absolutely.
everyone's
Positive messaging.
Yeah,
I love respiratory. I have never failed me. It breaks my heart when somebody says they don't love respiratory. So I usually give them a few facts and say,
there are some folks that are just not happy, and it makes me sad, because ultimately you can make the decisions that lead to your happiness. So it shouldn't be
a quick one. If you've got anybody like that, say they're protecting my license.
You know what I'm saying?
We're all out there. We're protecting each other's license. We're doing a great job.
Gina, thank you so much for being here with us. I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for being here with us. We are running out of time, but I just want to say, please remember that Rts Share Tea is hosting a vision board party. For those of you in the tri-state area, please remember to hit us up. I will have the link in the description below. And yes, it is June 10th. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the date. And so yes, guys, thank you, Gina, once again. And guys, don't forget to only compete to invest in yourself, and to only compete with yesterday's version of you. Gina, don't go nowhere. All right, guys, see you next week.